doing today?
Hey, welcome to Clink, the recap.
Yes,
We
girl.
are your
Today.
hosts. Welcome, Clink. And we are your hosts. I'm Kay.
And I'm Cam.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yes.
So, we reviewed They Cloned Tyrone.
I think they better clone Tyrone.
She said the mother suckers clone Tyrone. And they bugging our phone.
That's the truth.
Right. So, just so you know, spoilers, okay? Spoiler alert, big time.
Ding, ding, ding.
Because we are talking about it and you should have seen it, right?
Right. It's been a couple of weeks now, so
right.
by now you should have seen They Cloned Tyrone.
Right, and slipped to number 4 now. You know, it was number 1 for a while.
A little while, just a few minutes.
All right, y'all. So They Cloned Tyrone. I'm just going to read a synopsis of it. They Cloned Tyrone is a pulpy sci-fi mystery caper in which an unlikely trio investigate a series of eerie events, alerting them to the nefarious conspiracy lurking directly beneath their hood. Fontaine, a neighborhood drug dealer, is shot dead by a rival, Isaac, and then is very shocked to wake up in his bed the next morning unharmed. He and Slick Charles and Yo-Yo begin looking into the incident, and their search eventually leads them to a vast underground complex where a government-backed lab is performing experiments on the local Black population. Realizing that there is an artificial clone controlled by Nixon, Fontaine initially feels despair, but decides he needs to stand up to these white institutional overlords for the sake of his neighborhood.
Fight the power.
So that was the storyline. I would say that they pretty much hit the nail on the head with that storyline.
I think they did too. I thought this movie, I agree with the synopsis, but I also think that it was, to me, like a sci-fi action comedy.
It was. So it stars John Boyega, Teyonah Parris. I love her. I'm so glad she got something, a really big role.
Yeah.
And of course, Jamie Foxx.
Yes. Welcome back, Jamie.
Well, yes.
Glad to see.
And Kiefer Sutherland and David Allen Greer. The rest of the people you would know. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I will also say too, it's a mix of, it's like blaxploitation.
Yes, conspiracy
thriller, sci-fi, like all the good stuff.
Yeah, I think that they have like excellent components in how they did it. I mean, because I laughed, I wanted to cry on some spots, and I would say I was saddened. Not so much tears, but it checked like all the boxes for me.
How did you feel about the overall? Like for me, like I was talking to one of our classmates, because we always talk, about certain movies when it comes out, and I was telling him, I said, I really love the tone of the movie, the color grading, the grittiness, because it matched what it was about. I just love that look.
And I also love that it was kind of like a period piece, but it was up to date. It was, I like how they showed, how do you say, encapsulated that late 70s, early 80s vibe with the cinematography, the way everything looked. They were like straight up on point with everything. The way that they did it, I like when they went into the house, how it was. He talked about the shaggy carpet. It was a shaggy carpet. Just how it was a well put together movie. It was visually. It was, and I didn't see anybody drop the ball on continuity, honey.
Oh,
yeah, they were on.
I didn't see it either.
On point, and we were so excited about that.
Right.
But I loved like how these 3 unlikely characters come together. I liked how she made references to Nancy Drew. Because I love how she was like the for lack of a better word, the hope with the heart.
Mhm.
Because so often, you never see the other side of the character. The character development was excellent because it not only showed her as who she was being currently, it showed that she had a childhood, that she was raised by her grandmother, that she had a room in her grandmother's house. That's why I said they like checked all the boxes for me.
Yeah, the writing was on point. Jewel Taylor, he co-writer along with his writing partner, who was he is white, his writing partner.
It's Tony Rethenmeyer.
Yep. And Jewel, this is his directing his first feature film.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he was involved in Creed too.
Yeah. And he said that I saw a few interviews with him that he was inspired by like that the blaxploitation era, the Foxy Brown and all of that. And I just
love the way they brought it all together. Because
yes.
they made the past and the present go hand in hand the way that they did it. But that guy Ken Singh, I hope I'm saying your name right. Your cinematography is on point.
Yeah.
When me and Kay do our movie, will you please come and help some sisters out? That would be awesome. But I just love. Oh my God, I love so many different components about this movie. I love how they showed how in Black culture how they isolated a very small demographic when they decided to do this exploitation, as far as how in the beginning they showed the liquor store. I think the name of the store, I think I wrote it down, it was called something like Drinks. The store was Got Drinks. And in the clicheist way, they showed the young Black man go in, he bought a 40 ounce. You had the older Black gentleman that was sitting outside the store. He was kind of like the Oracle, like,
right,
kind of like in the Matrix.
We all had one in our neighborhoods growing up,
that old guy that you think is crazy, but he really ain't crazy.
Right. He's like a good conspiracy theorist.
Yes, because when you start talking to him, it's when you listen, he's not as crazy as you think.
Right, that's right.
So I like that part. Just the intro into just showing us, and I really did enjoy how they kept flashing back as far as when he would wake up. Okay, anyway, Tyrone was a drug dealer, and so Tyrone was his name was Fontaine. In this part of the movie, his name was Fontaine. He was a drug dealer. He got up every day. He was lifting weights, selling drugs, and doing all that type of stuff. And at some point, they come to bring him his money, and his money is short.
And you know how they do when your money's short.
What do you do, girl?
You got to let them know who's boss. You can't let them stiff you another time. So you got to shoot them or hit them with a car.
Now that part when he went to the other drug dealer who was on his turf and hit him with the car, I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. By him
because the little boy is in the passenger side, I'm like, okay, did he just okay?
That was crazy because the little boy was like, hey, and then I love when he gave the little boy $5. The little boy like, this all the money I give you, owe me like $15 more. I ain't have to tell your behind nothing. So I enjoyed that part. It was just, I just am really stuck on the cinematography because when they were at Fontaine's house, it just looked like straight up the late 70s, 80s. It was like a time capsule. They did everything right. But I kind of knew something was going on with the Fontaine's mother. What do you think about that part?
I really didn't pay attention to it at first. But then, like, after a certain time, because you begin to question, like,
where's she at?
Right. But yeah, it okay, so like with this movie, look at with Jewel, the director, it was asked of him because y'all know how we are, when we see our cliches, our stereotypes, the scratch offs, because
But that's the thing that really hit me too. Every time he scratched it off, it said you're a loser. He kept saying loser, loser. So it's like a subliminal message in that as well.
And with the 40s and the fried chicken and the fried chicken commercial, all of that, he was asked, like, did you get worried that you're gonna get some flack? Because there's some people, a small group, saying like, we always gotta say that. And normally I would be part of that group, but I was not tripping with this because I know what type of movie this was.
But you have to be honest with ourselves about the demographic. They do in Black culture, in urban areas, have fried chicken in 40s, but then when you go out to the suburbs, they don't have fried chicken in 40s. I've yet to see a fried chicken place in a suburb here in Michigan. You don't see any of that like you do at
in the city. Yeah. And and that's just a long-standing conversation that we have in our community, that the government just want to flood our communities with those things so it can keep us distracted and preoccupied with the whole thing with the Reagan and the CIA bringing the crack into our community, all of that. So I like that he's delving into that topic, right? And truth.
He's using
all the experience that the Tuskegee, the syphilis.
He's using cinema. He's using this as a vehicle to educate the younger generation, because the younger generation might not get the information from books, but they will watch a movie.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome. I really did like Slick Charles's character.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx. I love Jamie. Jamie can do no wrong. I mean, yes, there are some movies that's like, ooh. Okay, but his acting is always on par. And he did not disappoint in this. And he played Slick Charles, the pimp, to a T.
Yeah, I love when he kept referencing, I was the top pimp in 1995.
The ball.
I was the player's ball. I thought that was like so awesome. I also like the fact that he was a pimp with a brain. I think so often we look at these different types of people like drug dealers, street ladies, I call her a street lady, and pimps like they are ignorant. This showed the truth about these types of people. Just because that's what you do doesn't mean that's who you are, because they were all very intelligent, they were loving and compassionate, and they did care about their community. I'm glad that she was woke. Yo-Yo was woke. Yo-Yo was no joke, honey. Honey, she was all those Foxy Brown-ish.
Yeah, she was like getting it, okay, with her true crime solving herself.
And her wardrobe was on fire.
I was like that teal lipstick. Oh, that's nice.
I like them thigh-high boots.
Oh, the yellow ones.
Yellow, and then she had that ensemble. She was together the whole movie. And I loved her wig. Her wig was cute. Whoever styled you guys, they were on point. I didn't get to write that down. I like the fact that now as we go through the movie, as she was saying, Fontaine got shot. He got shot by the guy that he ran over.
And killed.
Got shot and killed by the guy that he ran over with his
by
car.
Little Murder, y'all. He got shot by Little Murder.
His name was Little Murder. But we can't wait till P Valley comes in. He got shot by Isaac. Isaac was his name in this movie. But Isaac, you did your thing. He did his thing in this as well. We didn't mention you at first, but you had it going on. But I like how he didn't get shot. They shot the mess out of him. He shot pow. He got shot pow.
Like what did Jamie Foxx say? Slick Charlie, like 50 Cent style. I like when his clone woke up and knocked on Slick Charles's door, and he like no. And then I like when he grabbed the juice and then he threw the juice across the room. So he was like, "Why you?" And that's another thing that people hate in Black culture. Why you drink? If you don't, you dare put an empty juice thing in the refrigerator. Throw it in the trash. What's wrong with you? Right, and then but in the morning. It was his clone was walking in the middle of the street all bloody and stuff like that, and then
Fontaine saw
it like from afar, and they scooped them up in a black van, and so the old man like off to see the wizard.
And then I like when Fontaine went to go kill because he was going to kill Slick Charles about his money. He's like, hold on, no, whoa, brother, you was already here. They went and got Yo-Yo. She explained to him all of that, and then they ended up at the house because she recognized the car. She's like, oh, okay, I got a little trick that's down the street. I know that car. So when they go to the house,
the trap house,
it's empty, and they're looking around. They don't see anything, and then they stumble across a door that looks like a break room. It's like a television there. Yo-Yo picks up a cup of coffee that is still warm, but there's nobody there. And so Fontaine, he's like, he got this thing inside of him that he just has to go find out what's going on. So then he finds the elevator door.
Yeah, so he finds the elevator door. You know, he hop on, and you know, Slick Charles, he trying to get up out of there. He's like, come on. So of course, Yo-Yo was down. She was like,
because she Nancy Drew,
right? You know, because she want to know what's going on. And so she gets on the elevator, and of course, Slick Charles, aka Jamie, gets on the elevator.
You got 15 minutes,
right? I love him. And so she pulls out her gun.
Then Jamie Foxx like,
right.
He pull out his too. Now I really did like the part when they got down there and they had the guy jamming it, because it was funny, because it was a Caucasian man with a wig,
with the afro,
jamming to Michael Jackson. So we like, what? So he's all into it or what have you, and then somebody always gotta break something. So he turns around and he sees them.
So they call him over, and Fontaine, you know, is holding him against the wall, you know, asking him questions. Jamie Foxx is investigating like this powdery substance, and he think it's at first he think it's cocaine because he tasted it. He knew it wasn't, but he was like, he was scooping something up anyway. And Yo-Yo, right. Yo-Yo was being Nancy Drew, you know, with the beakers, you know.
Right. She thought she was on Bill Nye the Science Guy. She's trying to make up a concoction.
So when Fontaine is talking to the lab tech, the lab tech like looks over at the bag that he was over there with. And so Fontaine looks over there and see it's a body bag.
And he tells Slick Charles, come over here and watch him. So while Slick Charles is watching him, he starts giggling and acting all goofy. And then while Yo-Yo is playing Nancy Drew, she drops a beaker. And when she does that,
this fool,
Slick Charles was a little trigger happy. And he shot the guy. And he like, get up.
He should take some wet naps.
Right, wipe up the blood. So during this time, Fontaine has walked over to the body bag laying on the table. He unzips it, and when he looks down, he sees himself. Yep. And he's
full of bullet holes.
Really not happy about that. So the alarm goes off, and they got to get the heck out of there. So they don't know where to go. So they go to Yo-Yo's grandmother's house, and that's where we see that she has all the Nancy Drew books. So they're trying to wait it out until morning. So they convinced Fontaine to stay. And then after they convinced Fontaine to stay, they went to sleep. And when they woke up,
Fontaine was gone. He had his boys and went back to the trap house, and it was no sign of anything. It looked like people were living there.
They had reconfigured the whole house.
They got to it real quick.
So these people that's how you knew they had money. And it was a real big conspiracy because how quickly the turnover was. So after that, they're all famished and they're sitting there chilling like, oh my gosh, let's go get some food. So they go to get some food and they go to the fried chicken.
See the fried chicken commercial
with the what they call it, something box.
Yeah. So Jamie was like, let's go get some food. And that they go to the fried chicken place. You know how y'all was in lamb for that that Popeye. See, I don't do chicken on the bun, so I wasn't out there.
I wasn't out there. My brother actually gave me one. He was like, "You never had that chicken sandwich?" I was like, "Ooh." Okay. But when they get to the chicken spot, they're all sitting there, and so Charles is sitting there, and Fontaine cracks a smile. So he's looking at him like, and then Fontaine starts laughing. Yo-Yo's laughing, and he's looking like, "Hold on," and he says, "I've never seen Fontaine crack a smile, smirk, nothing."
Right.
So then when he starts looking around the room, everybody in there is laughing. And so he knows that something is wrong because Fontaine ain't no joke. He don't do that at all. So he slapped the food off the table.
He did. Fontaine was about to grab his piece, and they're like, "Hold on." So Yo-Yo was like, "I'll go." It was another white man with an afro. Mm-hmm. He was the manager in the chicken place. So she was like, she about to go work her magic. So she went to the back, and she was working him, and she
showed him her thigh high boots.
Right.
And what did she keep saying? She was gonna give him a something, but it was something alluding to a little sexual thing going on. So he was like, "Woo!"
So he goes out and gets some chicken, and she kept on saying something like, "And some coleslaw."
Right. And a sweet tea. And a sweet tea.
So she do some snooping. And he comes back in, and she's looking at the cameras because they have like different places that they're monitoring. What to do in the hood. The church, the strip club.
And she also stumbled across a recorder on his desk that was saying what was going on. He was reporting what he was seeing on the monitors. So she, distracts him, and she's looking at all this stuff. And then they get out of there. And after they get out of there, she's telling them everything that she's seen, and they're tripping out like, "Oh my God, what's up?" So then they start thinking of a master plan. They like, "Hold on, we gotta like expose this stuff because this doesn't make any sense." And then she said, "You know what? I saw the strip club on the monitor." So where did they go? Okay.
They went to. Did they go to the strip club?
They went to the strip club first.
Cause when did they go to? Cause did we skip a part when they went down to the lab?
They didn't do that until after they went to the strip club.
Okay.
And that man confronted them. Remember?
Oh,
No. You're right.
Yeah,
They started following that. They saw some Caucasian people, one with a white guy with a wig, and they with an afro.
Right.
And then they was like, "Let's follow them," and they started following them to different stops because they were in the. What were they when they saw him?
Oh,
they were
they in the store?
They were in the store.
The liquor store.
The liquor store thing. I forgot.
Something like that.
They went
down there, but they saw
then they followed them to the perm.
Yeah, because they saw that it was like in the grape drink and the I have here in the relaxer and in the chicken.
Yeah, because
this is after. Yeah, this is after.
Because Slick Charles got in the van and they started following the van around, and then they lost Slick Charles.
Yeah.
And they were trying to find him. So when Slick Charles was in the van, he saw grape juice, and then he stole the key card. So when they finally couldn't find him, they went back to the store. He bought a 40 ounce, and he asked the old gentleman, "Oh my God, we can't find them. Where will we find them?" And he said, Where would you find? What did he say? He said something to the fact of something about Mount Zion.
Yeah, to the church. Yeah.
And so that was the name of the church. So they went to Mount Zion, and when they got there,
girl, David Allen Greer is a plum fool. You saw him do the little quiver. He's like, girl, he is a fool.
He is. He's one of my favorite comedians.
He is. I love him. And then because they kept glancing over to the grape juice because
on that bottle.
The band was playing "Back That Ass Up" by Juvenile,
and they're dancing "Back That Ass Up" in church. That was hilarious.
I was like, "Wait, are they playing "Back That Ass Up"?"
And then after they get done, and then the women are like, and he's like, "This don't look like no church. This look like the club." So after that, they wait until everybody leaves, and then after everybody leaves, they start trying to look around for somewhere to get into. They know it's another elevator there, and then of course they have white Jesus standing there, and he's pointing.
Right.
And when he points to an area, and then they find the
what?
They find the button. They find the little key fob, and then Slick Charles uses the key fob thing, and then it opens up the elevator. The altar goes up, and it becomes an elevator, and they go back down.
Yep, they go back down, and they seeing people like they reference the movie Clockwise Orange. If you haven't seen that, that's it was on Netflix at one point. But when they with the toothpicks in the eyes, and I was looking at Jewel, the director, he was giving out little Easter eggs. So, so he was saying, in the beginning, when the guy came over, when the lady got out that old school car, that was the same lady that kept showing on the posters missing. Because she was missing. She was the one that was down there with her eyes open.
They were trying to program her.
I was like,
but did you get when they showed the screen, when they were showing the men, they were in there fighting each other, and they were showing a screen that showed music, but what it was showing was frequency. Because what happens is, in a lot of our music, they use a certain type of frequency to control us. And a lot of times, I know I'm a conspiracy theorist, but to control us. And so the Easter egg was showing the frequency. They showed up, they were playing like a rap song, kill each other, da, 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 da. Then they flipped the switch and made them start hugging each other. And they put on a different frequency, and then it changed. But it was showing all these things. It was showing people laying on the floor. They were going crazy. They were experimenting on them.
Hypnotic, mind control, all of that, to control us. And to contain us.
So after they saw all that, they was trying to leave, but not Fontaine.
He was like, basically, I'm talking about when they got home, because when they realized, they had to get they had to get the suits, and then they had to come in contact with Nixon.
Right. They saw 3 people, and they didn't show us how they got the suits.
Right.
They got the suits, and they walked around and they looked at everything that was going on. They found like boxes where they were packing cereal boxes and other products. And so after they saw that, Fontaine still had this burning desire. So he kept going. And then he came across a room. He used to keep the thing. And he came across a room full of clones. So they went down
there. Himself, right?
And they found clones of him. Clones of Slick Charles and different other people from the trap, but we didn't see a clone of Yo-Yo. We never saw a clone of her. So then they freaked out. Of course, Fontaine being Fontaine, he started shooting at the glass. So now everybody knows that they were down there, and so he started shooting at the glass. It was a moment where Slick Charles he saw himself, and he was just like staring. And he's like, remember, you was the pimp in 1995, all that type of stuff. And so then they got out of there. And when they got in the elevator took them up through the strip club.
And so at this point, like the government, so to speak, the people in the lab were onto them that they were there. So the DJ, somebody else with a little afro, white guy, the DJ, he played a mind control song to make everyone
spinning in a circle.
Sleepy and spinning in a circle,
walking and dancing in a circle.
So they come out of the strip club. They recognize that it's the song. It's making everybody under a spell, so to speak. And then they go outside where they are stopped by Kiefer Sutherland's character called Nixon, and another clone of Fontaine who's called Chester, like his bodyguard. And basically he's letting Yo-Yo know, basically, like,
I'm in control of all of this.
Fontaine, he controlled Fontaine and Slick Charles.
He used a code. It was called Black something.
Olympia Black.
And they froze. He made Fontaine get ready to shoot Yo-Yo, then get ready to shoot himself, and he gave them a choice. Y'all either go back to your lives and keep playing the roles that you play, and everything is all good. But he was showing them, like, I have the power to kill you. Because that other Fontaine, I think his name was Cliff or something.
Chester. The bodyguard, Chester.
He wasn't no joke. He never said a word, though. And that was the eerie part.
Can we talk about John Boyega? This MF, he is a great actor. I really noticed that when he played, because I like him as Finn. I love Star Wars, so I like him as Finn and other things. But when I was really like, okay, this nigga can act, was in The Woman King. I was like, this fool.
But I loved in this how
he's good.
He was like,
he loved his black women.
He thumbs up. The other thing I like too, he was 3 different types of clones, but each clone had its own personality. Yeah. None of them were the same.
Yeah.
When they showed each clone, I saw a different personality for each one, and I loved it. I was like, you better go ahead with your character development. Go ahead with your character. You boy, you took notes in your acting class. You applied them. So I was like really excited about that. So after they get out of that situation, he lets them go. He lets Yo-Yo know, like, I'll kill you. So they go back to their lives and find Tay at this point. He was
like Peter. You know how Peter went on when he just went back to being himself.
Right. He was like, forget it. So then he's doing it. He goes to his mother's door again and he's like, Mom, do you want? She's like, oh, I already done ate at the church French fry or whatever. So he like, okay. But at that point, I'm like, is his mama ever gonna come out the room? This is weird to me. That's what I was saying. So then Yo-Yo comes over and she's like, we got to do something. And she all passionate and da. He like,
I'm good. I'm a clone. I can be controlled. What's the point? Basically.
I know who I am. So then finally she can't convince him. But then Slick Charles get a little bubbling up in his spirit. His clone spirit. And so, right. And so him and Yo-Yo are like, we got to stop this. Yo-Yo is real passionate because she's real.
About it.
She's like, I'm real. I don't know about y'all, but I'm real. And I'm not going out like this. So they get together. And then Slick Charles, with his brilliant mind, devises a master plan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, you remember it?
They had a master plan. And he said, you know what? So then he goes to Isaac, the drug dealer who was involved in Fontaine's shooting. He tells him what's going on. They set up little things and the cameras are watching all of them. So they're just like playing to the camera and having prostitutes go and act like
I love her. I don't know who her character was, right? But I love her. And she came on the scene. She stole it.
She did her thing. So they do all that and they convince Isaac to shoot Tyrone. So he goes through it. He shoots him, but he shot him so he wouldn't kill him. So he shot him and then they take him down there and they replace him with another clone. Mm-hmm. And so Slick Charles and the other prostitute, they take him and they tape him up to the chair because they got to keep him still so Tyrone can go and do his thing. So they show Tyrone on the table. And at this point, Yo-Yo gets all the information and she got all her stuff together and she about to mail this stuff that she stole to the government, not knowing that they control the mailboxes too.
Yeah.
So they captured her.
Yep. And then I don't know why I can't remember what happened after that.
They capture her. Then after that, that's when he got shot. He went down there. Mm-hmm. He unzipped. The guy was about to, do whatever they do to the clones. And when he was about to do that, Fontaine came alive. He had him unzip him and take him to the control room. Because at this point, they had put their plan in place and got everybody in the hood involved. And they were coming to be the cavalry.
Yep. And so it is the part where Fontaine comes face to face with the geneticist.
But the first part is the hood comes down. They come from the stores. They come from all these locations. So they come down there and they just caught wreaking havoc. They letting the people, go and all that. And then Fontaine gets into a fight with Chester.
Yes. And then this is when, because I want to talk about the part with the guy. So it's like kind of explain to us what. So the only con I would have about this movie would be it need to be some more wives. Like we got a lot of the whats in the house. But other than that, it was good. But so the older Fontaine, because we're looking at this guy, right? So at this point, we know it's still Fontaine.
Oh yeah, the geneticist.
Yes, geneticist. Who is a black guy, of course.
who is Fontaine, but an
older, the one who started all of this,
right?
Because his little brother Ronnie got gunned down, and basically he was just over the Black community in himself. So I need to know some more information on that. But so his plan was to, he said, not annihilate but assimilate. So to make clones where they are easily controlled, and on top of that, he took it a step further where he took out the Black gene, and that's why we were seeing the white people with the afros, because that was a result of his
turning Black people,
because they want to eliminate the Black race.
And I was mad, and I was like, if he don't get this sucker right here, because I had an attitude. They actually show all the clones from dark, and then turn it into. He was like, eventually, everybody is going to be Caucasian, and I'm like, I had attitude. So he starts trying to explain to Fontaine he did this because their brother was killed, and he's putting Fontaine down, telling him, "Oh, you're just a clone. I gave you some memories, but not all memories," and basically telling him like he's nothing.
Yeah.
And so he gets
and then it's going to take several generations
in order to complete it. So basically he was a damn sellout.
Right.
He was a sellout. But I love how when the analogy of you have to sometimes get back to yourself. So when he was just thinking he was creating these clones, he had really created a version of his real self before he became an idiot. And so Isaac and is his name? No, what's his name?
Isaac the murder.
No, what's the clone name?
Fontaine.
The other one, the Chester.
Oh, Chester, yeah.
Had beat the crap out of Fontaine, and he drugged him when he took him to meet him. But see, Fontaine was smart.
He remembered.
So the old Fontaine, the geneticist was trying to tell Chester to kill Fontaine, like, scrap him. We're going to start all over. I don't need him. But Fontaine remembered what, girl? What did he remember?
Olympia Black. He was like, don't you know I'm not a clone? He was like, I know you're not, but he is.
And Chester
like, shoot him.
Shot the out of him.
Lit him up.
Yeah. And then the other thing, after that happened, they went and let all the clones go.
Yeah, let all the clones free.
So everybody went up to the surface, and they were exposed. So the other thing that happened, it started showing another city in Los Angeles, and it was another Fontaine.
It was Tyrone.
But he wasn't Fontaine, he was Tyrone.
He's the original, because that's who they cloned after.
So basically, they were going from city to city.
Like you, Tyrone.
Right, they all turned and looked. But then the thing was like the three superheroes of the movie, well, they were superheroes, but they weren't. Fontaine, Yo-Yo, and Slick Charles decided to go around the country and find the other clones and educate them and set them all free so that they could stop the agenda. So I think the movie was good because they had it had all the elements of mystery. Like I said, it was funny. It was you had to kind of try to figure it out. But I am going to say that one pivotal moment for me was when Fontaine finally realized that his mother was really a voice box.
When he knocked down
and because she never came out the room. So finally he got tired. He like, Mama, I just need to see you, because he's all confused about what's going on. And I think that speaks to that we all need our mothers. We need our parents. She was what was keeping him going. And then when he found out that she wasn't even alive, that they had been playing him all that time, I think that's what really sparked him to be like, he felt that emotion.
He did.
Because your mama. Mama, you know I love you. Don't play. So if we were going to give
how many out of 5 gummy bears, how many gummy bears would you give They Cloned Tyrone?
I would give them 5, and they would all be cherry flavored.
Oh. Woo! Oh. Yeah. I feel I give them a strong 3.5.
We didn't watch the same movie. Clearly. She must have fallen asleep. No,
it had a little bit of holes for me. There's a little bit of plot holes, but you know.
I think due to time constraints, they probably couldn't fit it all in because once you get to
the first hour of it, like the big lead up. To me, like the big reveal was kind of like I wanted this a little bit more, just a little bit. That's why I gave it a strong 3.5.
Okay,
that's me, a strong 3.5.
I liked it, but I think my biggest draw was the conspiracies. I also liked how she had spoke about the blockchain and how Bitcoin, how my trick lost his whole house because so many people are caught up in Bitcoin, and it's starting to show that things are it's just tripped out because when Enemy of the State years ago, they gave us all this information about different things that were going on. So in this movie, they kind of gave us, like you say, some what do you call them? Breadcrumbs to truth. So in cinema, there is always truth in it.
Yeah. So art imitates life,
and life imitates art. So I guess the happy medium for both of us will be a 4 then.
Yeah, I mean it's watchable on Netflix if you have Netflix. It's really a good watch. You'll be entertained. You will be with Slick Rick's, Jamie Foxx's some of his one-liners had me rolling. But yeah, you'll be entertained. So this is definitely a watch it, on a night where you want to chill and nothing else to do.
So with that being said, thank you for joining us for our recap of They Cloned Tyrone here on Clink.
Mother suckers clone Tyrone.
Clone him.
All right, y'all.
Don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe. And if you want to talk to us, go to allthingscamandk@gmail.com and we will respond in a timely manner.
So we will. All right, y'all. Till the next time. Bye.